All right, welcome back, everybody. And today we're doing another installment of the 10x booster pack investment. It's been a little while since I did one of these, but I did want to come to you guys today with an update. I think the last time I did one of these was a couple months ago, or about a month ago. So since then, I've been tracking the booster packs that I have in I would call it my 10x booster pack investment mutual fund. This spans back to Sun and Moon base set, which was released in February of 2017. So we are coming up on the 7-year anniversary of this set. So this mutual fund of booster packs essentially goes back to a 7-year span in the hobby. So I have considered expanding earlier to the XY era, but at this point, do not have the funds and not liquid enough to do that and make that move. But at some point in the future, I would like to do that, even if it's in abbreviated form, where I'm not going after 10 booster packs, I'm going after 4. So that's something that, I may expand this and grow it. But for right now, let's jump into the data. So I have added a couple more sets since we last covered this. I believe the last time I covered this, I might have had Paldea. I'm not sure if I had Obsidian in here, but we have Obsidian, Pokemon 151, and the newest Trick or Trade booster from 2023. So those have all been added to the sheet and added to the portfolio. In quotation marks, I'm saying portfolio because it's not really an investment. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Obviously, take this information, how you will, and use it in whatever way you want. But I like covering this because I enjoy it, and I have the funds to do it. And if I lose it and they all go to zero tomorrow, I can afford to do that. So that being said, let's jump into the data. We started obviously at the very tail end of December 2022. That's where the majority of these packs were collected. So if we move all the way over to the right, we are updating today, the day that this video is being dropped, October 21st. I have been kind of periodically every couple weeks to a month coming in here and just updating. So I do have results based off of these periods and these frequencies. And then if we slide all the way to the right, we are going to look at this furthest column to the right. This is where we stand today in the top right. So far, we have a total return of around 30%. Against our cost basis, we're looking at about an $800 return. So our cost basis, if you remember, is about $3,300. So what this tells us is that our $3,300 investment has yielded a $800 return over a 293-day span. So that's pretty good, right? Because if you look at the stock market and other investment vehicles, those things are not performing as well as this 31%. So that's what this spreadsheet is doing, is it's giving us a way to compare apples to apples to some of these other investment vehicles. I will say, obviously, this is a very risky investment vehicle. It's not something I would recommend you go and throw your life savings into. But this is something that's very diversified, right? It's got a very nice mix of older sets, or relatively older sets, and newer sets. Obviously, the set, every single new set that comes out, we're adding it, and those tend to be the most volatile. But it's a nice mix of volatility. And I just want to reiterate, we're comparing apples to apples, but we're not comparing the risk level. This is a significantly higher risk level, putting your money into something like this. So let's filter based on worst performers and best performers. So the worst performer by far was Evolving Skies over the last couple weeks. So if you look at the prior period, it actually did quite well, and then it had a significant drop off. So this could be due to the fact that we had a large dump of product into the market. Again, everything on here is based on TCG player prices. This isn't a holistic view of the market, right? There are other selling platforms like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, stuff like that. This is just looking at TCG player to keep everything consistent. But that being said, if something is going on TCG player, there's a possibility it could be going on in other platforms. But But either way, we saw a pretty significant decline over the last 2 weeks in Evolving Skies. Again, could just be that somebody wanted to get rid of their product and get a little bit more liquid, and they know Evolving Skies can sell at the $6 to $7 price point. So not really too worried about Evolving Skies. I'm sure that'll see a uptick here in the next couple updates. The next one is the Trick or Trade Booster 2023. Not surprised. I picked these up at 50 cents a piece. I'm seeing deals as low as 20 to 30 cents a piece if you pick them up by the full pack of 50. So again, not surprising here, and it's not a large portion of the portfolio, so that's fine. Fusion Strike, we're not talking huge movements here. In fact, a lot of these are just probably normal ebbs and flows of the market. I'm not super concerned with these, so we probably won't touch on these a whole lot. Rebel Clash, Champions Path, General Mills. I mean, these are all things that are sets that aren't, besides Fusion Strike, sets that people aren't really going for a whole lot. So I'm not really too concerned with this. The one I wanted to focus on was Crown Zenith. I was interested in how this was going to do because obviously we have our Crown Zenith reprints coming through very, very shortly at the end of October. Haven't seen a ton of price movement on this, so I think people are kind of holding their product, it kind of seems, instead of dumping it before the reprint. So we'll see how this does, but I expect a pretty drastic decline in the Crown Zenith booster path prices as we move forward here into November and December with that reprint coming. So if we flip and we look at the best performers, the best performer was Pokemon 151. Again, brand new set. Most volatile sets are the ones that just released. This released on September 23rd, so it's only been out for a month. Surprisingly, it is the best performer in this period. Surprisingly, but also not surprisingly, because there's a lot of hype. A lot of people, I think, for the first time are saying, hey, I want to go complete that master set. So I'm going to hold on to my cards. If people are holding on to their stuff, they're ripping more, right? They want to complete the set. Definitely a different behavior surrounding 151 than we typically see. So it'll be really interesting to see how this does moving forward, because we know Pokemon is going to release waves and waves of this product into the future. Obsidian Flames took a little bit of an increase. Pokemon Go took a little bit of an increase, and Sword and Shield base. So, some pretty interesting. Pretty interesting being that we didn't see any significant moves over the last couple weeks. Again, this was the last couple weeks, so perhaps let's look at 1 week prior. You see that the Trick or Trade booster from last year basically took off, had a 36% increase. McDonald's 25th anniversary, and actually Fusion Strike made its massive gains last week, or the last time we updated this, along with Team Up. So Team Up again has been something that has been just climbing. It'll be really interesting to see where this goes. But as far as like percent changes for this specific period, wasn't a whole lot of movement. But what I did do, and I'll jump into the next segment here, I added a summary tab, and it's not very pretty. It's not formatted very well, but I did start to basically compile my periods where I'm compiling information and data for this investment vehicle on a row by row basis. And you can see here, you're trying to track the the change. The total value column is just the total value of the portfolio. The change is from the prior month. You can see we only had one negative month, and it makes sense because that's in the middle of August when everyone's on vacation. They are outside, they're doing things, they're not focusing on being inside and managing their collectibles and stuff like that, right? So this makes sense to me. Percent change is just the change in percentage. So it's the same thing. Rolling change is just how much the portfolio has changed, but we're rolling that into the next one, right? So this is all based off of the initial total value. And then the percent return is just the total percent return. So if we look at the total value today and compare that to the cost basis, again, we were looking at about an $800 return overall. And down here is just these these several columns plotted. So over on the left, you have the total value versus the date. So all the way back in January when we first started, we were sub $3,500 total value, and today, we are about $4,200 in value. Obviously, we've been, I don't want to say pumping money into this, but with each new release, we are adding product, which means we are spending money. So as we add product to our portfolio, we are increasing our cost basis as well. So it's not like we're getting that for free. So when we spend money, we are adjusting our cost basis, so we are not losing sight of that. The change percentage, this is just on a, each time we make an update, this column here, I want to see how our percent change looks, right? And do we have a nice do we have a nice consistent percent change, which is what you saw here more in the beginning of the year in the spring when people are, inside, or do we see something more volatile like you see over here in the summer months where you have significant jumps and dips? Um, so this is the kind of thing that I'll be looking at over the next year or so, right? We're almost at about a year point of doing this. We're going to have a full year's worth of data in our back pocket, and then as we progress into the next year, it'll be interesting to see if the trends that we're seeing here kind of continue into the future, or if we start to see something different. Because we're looking for predictors, and we're looking for ways to explain, the data and what's happening. So that's it for today. Again, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on where we are. I think uh, the way this is performing is a good indicator that the hobby, I think, is really strong. Obviously, I think if you were to break it down by era, that would be really interesting to see, if Sun and Moon versus Sword and Shield versus Scarlet and Violet, how are those all doing in comparison? Obviously, I think we know Scarlet and Violet would be at the bottom of that because the general consensus from the market is that Scarlet and Violet is bad and we don't want it. And that's why you're seeing booster boxes sub $90 for all three of those first sets, outside of 151, which is a special set, which we're not really going to count. So it'll be interesting to see kind of as we move forward what happens with the the market perception towards Scarlet and Violet, and just where things go from here. So if you guys stuck around this long, appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing, leaving a like, leaving a comment. It helps. I don't do this a ton, but I do intend to continue, probably with more of a focus on this because I do like documenting this, and I think it's helpful for some of the patrons that are in the Discord, that are part of the wholesale program. Wholesale program, I'll also include that below. It's where you get basically distributor pricing right from distributors, and you do pay a monthly fee, but the monthly fee pays for itself and more when you make your first purchase. So I'll leave that below too. But again, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.